Introducing to you first the challenger, fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing purple trunks with black trim and weighed in at 159 3/4 pounds. Hailing from Miami, Florida, he has an unblemished record of 32 wins, no losses, with 22 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Glen Johnson.
All right.
And his opponent, fighting directly across from him out of the blue corner. This afternoon, he's wearing gold trunks with black trim and weighed in at 160 pounds. Hailing from the great fighting city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, he has a professional record of 31 wins, just 2 setbacks, 1 draw, with 24 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the current IBF middleweight champion of the world, Bernard Middleweight King Executioner Hopkins. Once again, your referee in charge, Pat Russell, now to give the instructions.
Okay, let's clear the ring except for 1 second the fighter. 1 second the fighter, clear the ring. Everybody else out, please. Okay, gentlemen, here's that line right here. Everybody see that? Everybody see that? Yes, Championship of the world, 12 rounds, touch your gloves, come out at the bell. Good luck to both of you.
Final instructions from the referee, Pat Russell, and will be underway scheduled for 12. Bernard Hopkins defending his IBF middleweight title against Glen Johnson. Hopkins in his 8th title fight, 1993. His first opportunity was against Roy Jones, who has since moved up in weight. It was for the IBF crown. He lost over 12 to Roy Jones, and then had a draw against Segundo Mercado in 1994 in his 2nd title try for the IBF championship, and then stopped Mercado in 1995 with a 7th round knockout, and has defended it successfully 4 times since. Hopkins in gold, Glen Johnson in the purple trunks with black trim. Watching Johnson in some previous fights, difficult guy to find, Gil. He's very good defensively. He's kind of a safety first fighter, but he can punch, as his 22 KOs would indicate.
Very, very cute guy, Tim. He's the kind of guy you don't want to take any chances with, because as you mentioned, he can nail you coming in. And Hopkins came out quickly, just the way he told us he was going to. Wants to get rid of this guy early, but again, that may be a formidable task.
Hopkins, an excellent mechanic, well-schooled fighter. You call him a complete fighter. He does have some power, although it's more often that he kind of wears you down because he makes each punch count. And they are heavy punches.
Big right hand.
Yes, he caught
right on the punch. And Johnson took the punch, to his credit.
Right on the chin.
And Johnson, they said, how does he expect to win the fight? He says, easy. I have to hit him more than he hits me. Pretty simple explanation.
That's right. That's the theory and the way boxing should be scored. Hopkins gets in close. He will make every punch count. He won't just wait on you. He'll bang something somewhere. You saw some body shots in the last exchange.
And he throws some beautiful straight right hands, Tim. They're quick and they're accurate.
A minute to go in the first round, scheduled for 12. Championship action on the CBS Sports Show. Hopkins and Johnson.
Little low blow by Johnson, excuse me. Won by Pat Russell.
Glen Johnson suffered a cut in his last 2 fights against Sam Garr, a tough battle. He won over 10 rounds against a guy who could punch some, was undefeated at the time. And Dave Hamilton, he stopped in 2 rounds, but he's cut in both of those fights. And has recovered. They were both from headbutts, punches.
All right, step out. Fight!
Final seconds of round number 1. A world championship at stake at the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. Tim Ryan and Gil Clancy watching the champion of the IBF middleweight division, Bernard Hopkins in gold. Glen Johnson in purple with black trim from Miami, Florida. Originally from Jamaica, has been living in Florida since the age of 14. He's trained by Pat Burns. Bernard Hopkins has Bowie Fisher, his trainer, in his corner. Last outing, Hopkins, in defense of his title, stopped John Jackson in 7, April 19th of this year. Johnson's last outing, a second-round knockout of Dave Hamilton in January.
Good uppercut by Hopkins. Again, right on the button. It didn't seem to faze Johnson at all.
28-year-old Johnson from Clarendon, Jamaica, now living in Miami, as we said. 3-time Florida Golden Glove champion.
Johnson is going to have to nail Hopkins with a couple of good punches, because Hopkins is really taking chances, really throwing bombs, and Johnson just isn't countering enough at the time, right now.
Interesting thing about these two fighters, they started as light heavyweights. Gil, it's often the case that fighters move up in weight. These two guys actually started at 175. Indeed, Johnson, his first fight was at 195 pounds when he turned pro. Didn't start to box until he was 20 years old. That is a good left hand from Hopkins.
That is a very interesting point, and again you can see Hopkins when he has a guy hurt, really trying to get him out of there.
Pouring it on, but good defense by Johnson. He covers up well with his hands up high. Hopkins trying to find openings, pounding away. Johnson has not thrown a punch back, but he still has his legs well under.
That's what he's going to have to do. He's going to have to gain Hopkins' respect to stay in this fight.
It's round number 2. Johnson gathered himself there with some good defense.
But he's going to have to show a little offense, Tim. He weathered the storm, but he has to get Hopkins' respect.
Johnson fired a low blow there that the referee didn't see.
Take a step out. Let me untangle. I got it. Let's go.
So far, Johnson's left hook has been his best punch. Left hook to the body, not to the head.
Hopkins looking very relaxed here, throwing punches and bunches. And now Johnson grabs on here.
That's an indication that he's being hurt by those punches, Tim.
And a little weary from the assault. Under 30 seconds we go in round 2.
There, Johnson fired a left hook back to the chin.
Free up those hands. Free them up.
Johnson undefeated, 32-0 with 22 KOs, but hasn't been in against the same type of opposition as the champion Hopkins. Final seconds, round 2.